Welcome to this HMIS training on the entry point workflow. In this video, we'll discuss how to enroll clients into coordinated assessment systems. Who is this video for? This video should be viewed by any user or provider who does enroll clients into a coordinated entry system. As a result, this is applicable to both Maricopa and Balanced Estate continuums. Please note, when we say any system, this could be singles, families, healthcare, veteran, any project or system that's considered to be coordinated entry should view this video. In this video, we'll overview a few things. First, we'll make sure our EDA project is selected. Next, we'll enroll the client. After that, we'll complete all applicable assessments, and as appropriate, we'll exit the client. At this point, we'll jump into Service Point and take a closer look at the workflow. Now, I've already gone ahead and entered data as into the correct project, and we're on our client's profile. Before we enter the entry exit, we'll make sure everything else is complete. So, we'll make sure our households tab is correct. In this case, we'll be completing an assessment for a single client or a single adult, but if your household does contain a family or family members, you want to make sure that household is built out correctly in Service Point. Next, we'll move on to the ROI tab, and we'll add the appropriate ROI. In this case, the client will indicate that they give a yes for permission for the ROI. And refer to your specific continuum instructions on how to best complete and what dates to fill out for the ROI. And next, we'll go to the Entry Exit tab to complete the actual enrollment. So we'll click Entry Exit here. This will be a HUD type project. And we see some available assessments. Now, both continuums would have the UDE assessment available. This has been pre-filled out, as this is discussed in detail in other trainings. After you do complete the UDE assessment, we do have the Coordinated Entry Status and Vulnerability Assessment. This assessment contains key federal and local items which are necessary to enroll clients and make sure we have all the important information when prioritizing and reporting on clients in the system. This will be the same in both Balanced Estate as well as Maricopa. Our first sub-assessment on this is the client contact. We'll click Add, and we'll add the appropriate information as possible. So first we'll add the client's phone number. We can also add a secondary phone number as necessary. And any details about the client's location, additional notes, or a case manager name is always very helpful. In short, this assessment can help us reach out and contact clients who are eligible for housing or other services. And if we're not able to reach those clients, they're unfortunately able to receive those services as able. So we want to make sure that this is as thorough as possible so that we can make sure that anyone who is eligible for services can be contacted and can receive those services. Once complete, we'll click Save. Next, we'll go to the current living situation sub-assessment. This should be completed for all heads of households as well as adults. To add one, we'll click Add. And our start date will be the same as our date of contact. And we'll select the appropriate current living situation for the client. This will be where the client will currently be staying when they are talking to you. So when they leave this interview or this meeting, where is that client going to be living, or where are they currently living? In this case, we'll say the client is currently staying in a shelter. You can add additional details as necessary, but they're not required. Now, there are some follow-up questions that say if current living situation falls under institutional or temporary and permanent housing situations, complete the below. You can identify if the living situation falls under one of those categories. On the drop-down above, we'll see homeless situations, institutional situations, and temporary and permanent housing situations. In this case, the client selected a homeless situation, so we do not need to complete these follow-up questions. We'll go to the bottom and click Save. Our next sub-assessment is the Coordinated Entry Event. This should be completed for the head of household only, and you will only choose an access event. Let's pull it up and take a closer look. So our start date will be the same as our date of event. We will not be using the end date for the sub-assessment, so you may leave this blank. And there are 4 access events which you're able to select from. We are only selecting one access event. we are not selecting referral events, which are completed at a later stage in the process. Our access event options are a referral to a prevention assistance project. This would be for a client who's not currently homeless but needs assistance. We'll select problem solving, diversion, or rapid resolution service if we provide a diversion service that is successful. We'll select a referral to the coordinated entry crisis needs assessment if the client is being assessed and it is determined they need some immediate assistance, whether it be medical, contact with police for domestic violence purposes, or just to a trauma hotline as well. Anything that cuts off the assessment because the client needs to be immediately referred to a crisis need, you'll select crisis needs assessment. Finally, if the client is going to go ahead and complete the VI SPDAT right now or in the very immediate future, we'll select referral to scheduled coordinated entry housing needs assessment. In this scenario, we'll say our client will be completing a VI SPDAT with us. Now, we want to make sure that we only select one access event. Now, you'll see a couple of follow-up questions. Most of the questions are not applicable at this point in the process. The only one that may be applicable is this one here that says if the event was a problem-solving or diversion service. Now, when you do select a problem-solving or diversion service, this answer will always be yes. So this is only to be selected if you're having a successful diversion for the client. If they're not successfully diverted, you'll leave this blank and we'll choose one of the other access events, whether that's a referral to a crisis needs assessment or a housing needs assessment. We'll scroll to the bottom and click Save. Next, we have the coordinated entry assessment. This will be completed for the head of household only. We also complete this assessment when the client is referred to a entry needs or crisis needs assessment. If the client is diverted or the client is referred to prevention assistance, you will not need to complete this particular sub-assessment. We'll click Add. We have our date of assessment defaulting. We'll pick our assessment location, which will be the same point as the entry point. In this case, we'll select the same one here. The assessment type, is it phone, virtual, and in person? In this scenario, we'll say we're talking to the client in person. The assessment level, this was a referral for a housing needs assessment because they will be completing a VI SPDAT. And the prioritization status will always be placed on prioritization list. All clients who do enter through coordinated assessment will be prioritized and will be eligible to appear on a list for prioritization. Once we complete that, we'll click Save, and that will be complete. Now, at the bottom of the screen, you'll see 3 available VI SPDAT sub-assessments. The VI SPDAT for single adult clients, the TAE VI SPDAT for head of households who are youth, and the VI SPDAT for families with adults and children. The HMIS team does not train on how to properly complete these particular sub-assessments. Please refer to your coordinated entry lead for specific guidance on the best practices for completing these SPDAT assessments. Once we complete all the data entry here, we'll click Save, and we'll scroll back to the top. Now, some systems will have additional assessments. In this case, they have an additional single adult coordinated entry system assessment. In Balance of State, there may be a different one. The Family Housing Hub will have a different assessment. Each coordinated entry system will have a different custom assessment. Please refer to your lead on how to properly complete those assessments. For the purposes of the video, we're simply going to end it at the entry status and vulnerability assessment and ask you to refer to the leads because those are custom fields determined by each coordinated entry system. Once you do complete all assessments though, you'll go ahead and click Save and Exit, and we'll see that our client has been entered into the program. Now we'll go over how to exit the client. Most clients and most systems will be exited on the same day. There are exceptions to this. For any exceptions outside of this workflow, please refer to your coordinated entry lead or your system to ascertain the best practices for an exit date. In this case, the client would be exited on the same day. To do that, we'll click the pencil icon. We'll say that the client completed the program and they're exiting to the emergency shelter. And there are no exit assessments associated with the new coordinated entry process. So we'll go to the bottom and click Exit. therefore completing our enrollment for this client. That concludes the coordinated entry or entry point workflow. Thank you for watching and have a wonderful day.